You're listening to the Welcome to the Rebellion podcast. Hey, Jay, are you ready? 'Cause it's time to start the show.
Something that you might know, I have been pestering this man. I've been pestering this man for some time now, and finally we were able to make the proper arrangements for him to be on. But before we do that, also, I just want you to don't forget to check out Nine Line Apparel. Use the code DRUNK3PO for 20% off. Doing some awesome things over there. Also, the Welcome to Rebellion shirt is still available for another 6 days as of today. And also check out geeksandgamers.com for everything geeks and gamers. And without further ado, would you please welcome Matthew Marsden? How are you, sir? Good to have you here.
Good to be here. Thanks for being patient with me. You've been very patient.
No. Thank you for being patient with me. I'm sure your inbox is filled with wonderful messages from Twitter. I'm sure it's filled with wonderful messages. So, and then you come across mine and it's like,
no. I mean, I actually love your show. So it's a great thing. You and Ryan is doing really good stuff. So it's a real honor to be asked onto your show. So,
well, for those that are listening, you might not recognize the voice. Matthew Marsden was in Black Hawk Down. He was also my favorite sniper in Rambo. Played Schoolboy with Sylvester Stallone, and on top of so many other things, he just had a movie that was released on Amazon Prime, which we promoted here on this channel. I Am the Man. I Am That Man. I Am That Man has just come, but that movie was out on 2019, correct?
Yeah. So what happened with that was, I mean, it's one of those things when you want to do a movie that you don't want Hollywood to mess with, you have to go out and do it all on your own. And I had some experience with a couple of guys that worked on Black Hawk Down after we did that movie, and they played real guys that really died. They went out and badmouthed America and the government and all that. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be in control of this, especially because the movie was very special for veterans. So what we did was, it was actually, I Am That Man was the first movie ever to go into AFIs without having a proper theatrical release. So that was a first. And then when it came to releasing, we were just pushing out the release, and then COVID hit and it just backed everything up. And you'd think it would be different, right? You think people would be desperate for material, but it wasn't. It slowed every single thing down. So we just had to be patient until they got around to releasing it, which was, it was a real pain in the backside for me, because for that movie, I've had so many people say that it has helped them get through PTSD. It's helped them with their marriage. So for me, I'm like, get it out, because I want it to, if it can save one life, it can save one marriage for a veteran, then it's done its job, So that was a real frustration for me, but it's out now and people can go see it and enjoy it. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, and if you're interested in the movie, the link is in the description below. It'll take you right to Amazon, where we can get this movie. I have it ready. Everybody wants me to do a review, so I plan on doing that this coming weekend, and I'll let everybody know what I think, if they're interested in what I think, if they're interested in what I think. But you brought up Black Hawk Down. Now, I've heard you mention that many times on interviews, that was a movie that really changed your life in a certain way, or change your perspective on a lot of things. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, I grew up loving America. I didn't really know why I loved America. I was certainly a consumer of its products. I love stuff like the old school TV shows like the A-Team and all that, Battlestar Galactica, and, grew up loving Star Wars and like anyone else. So for me, there was always this dream of becoming an actor. And I think that through watching Rocky, oddly enough, like Rocky was the thing that told me, because I'm from a really rough area, like a bit of a tough area, and people like me don't normally become actors. And so watching Rocky made me think, hey, you know what? If I can just get to America, I can make something of myself. Like I've got I've got to do it myself, but I can make something of myself. So anyway, cut to all these years later, I've gone through the process in the UK, did National Youth Theatre, did a degree in Performing Arts, blah, 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 big television show, whatever. And I get this movie, Black Hawk Down. And we're over in Fort Benning, and we did this, what they called Ranger Orientation. They were very clear not to call it RIP, which was, the Ranger School. But we, Ranger, I believe it's Ranger Indoctrination Program. But they were like, it's not that. But anyway, we got kind of a flavor of it, and I loved it, right? I was just like immersed in it. And we were sitting out one day, and we'd done some close quarter combat stuff, room clearing, going in, and all that fun stuff. And so I'm doing my actor thing, and I turn around to the guy next to me, who's maybe a 21-year-old Army Ranger. And I said to him, why'd you join? Why did you join the US Army and then obviously, Army Airborne Ranger Regiment?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, for freedom. And I've never heard, they kind of mock that over in Europe. It's kind of like, man, Americans and freedom fries and man, and little bitches basically. And to hear an American like say it, and mean it.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, I'm like, holy shit, like this is a guy that is literally going to put his life down for someone else. And I said to him, you'd die for me, wouldn't you? And he said, yes, sir.
Wow.
And I was like, it was just a defining moment for me to know that man who did not know me, didn't know if I was an asshole, if I was this, or was that, was willing to fight for my freedom. And I'm not even American, right? At that point. And I just thought, what kind of a country creates human beings like this, right? Like what is it about the American experience that creates people like that? And so it really shook me to my core, because I wanted to know what this was. Like, what is this thing? So I started reading about the founding fathers and this and that, and how, because oddly enough, in England, they only talk about the wars that you win.
Exactly.
So they don't.
Yeah,
we were
I understand
never told,
that one.
You know what I'm saying? So we were never told about the Revolutionary War and George Washington and all this. And so, and once I delved and went into it more and more and more and more, I'm like, this is the greatest country the world has ever seen. Just the greatest country the world has ever seen. The founding, right behind me over there, I've got, you can probably see it. We the people, I got it right there.
Wow.
And I keep it, it's actually going to be on my wall over here, but I've moved it around. I'm moving it around my office. So. But it just, the penny dropped. And I still believe to this day that America is the best hope for the world. I really do. And it's people like yourself, people that really love freedom, and they understand what tyranny is, and they understand that it's not just, some kind of like word, that people throw out, that this is a real thing. And so after a while, I'm seeing all this shit go on, I was a victim of the cancel culture as well, like back in the day, I was the OG, like kind of cancelled guy, right? But nobody ever took any, people just getting on with their own business. So when it happened to Gina, I was furious about it. It just really pisses me off. And I think that she was, she really highlighted it to a lot of people. So, that it all basically links together with the fact that I loved America, but I didn't know why. And then I got educated about what it is and what it means to be an American. And that made me love it even more. And when you come to something like that, when you don't have it and then you have it, you want to fight for it, right? Like, you understand that this can be fleeting. It's not always going to be like this. What was Reagan said, that we one generation away, right, from losing our freedom, right? And we're seeing it right now all over the world. And this isn't like some kind of conspiracy, like lunatic idea. You can see everything.
But they'll tell you that on Twitter, my friend.
Oh yeah, but I mean, but I'm at the point now where I'm like, this is not about me. This is about my children and about my
Right.
children's children. And if all it takes is an actor to come out and lose work, I'm not going over and doing what that 20-something-year-old guy was going to do for me, right? I'm not looking to take a bullet, right? So it's really pathetic of me if I don't really speak up when I have a little bit of a platform,
Yeah,
and especially when everybody thinks that everyone thinks the same, and it's just not true. Um,
exactly.
and I'm not really saying anything that's particularly controversial. It's just the woke mob want to make everything controversial, and it's bullshit. And you're
Yeah.
not a man if you don't stand up against it. You're just
Well,
not.
you just recently became a citizen, an American citizen. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
Now,
20.
how was that ceremony? Because I got to see it one time. A friend of mine became an American citizen. They invited us down, and I've never saw that. And I did that. I'm in Orlando, Florida, so I saw it.
Mhm.
I saw it in Miami, and it was really cool. Like it was really cool to see people from all over the world. Many people had tears in their eyes.
Yeah.
They were each given a little flag. They were each given, there was a message from the president. There was like a little ceremony and things like that. It was, and you could literally look and see people like, I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, it was just
Yeah.
like, it's
No.
something that I take for granted as an American myself. It's like, I've never seen like people just, they did the oath and everything. And you just see this thing come over top of them. And it's just like, wow, it's absolutely amazing. So how was it for you? Was it a big ceremony? Was it just a private one,
No.
or?
Yeah, it was a private one because of the coronavirus,
Mm,
and but it was still emotional. So, I mean, I could tell you, I'll tell you a couple of things off air
okay.
about the ceremony. I don't really want to talk about it on air, but it was an amazing experience. Like, you gotta understand, when I walked in there, a lot of people like I did it the right way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm going to become an American, I'm going to do it by following the laws, right? And I'm going to do it the right way because I respect people like you and other Americans, right? If I'm going to be a part of that system, then I'm going to do it the right way. And so I'm going to respect the whole process, however frustrating it might be, and however frustrating it is when you see people just like not care, right? But I'm going to do it the right way, and I did. And when I was walking in for the interview, I was nervous because I cannot mess this up, right? I
Wait,
mean, it's only
hold
six
on.
questions.
We got to stop there. You were in a movie with Sylvester Stallone. You were in I mean, you were even a recording singer. A lot of people don't know that if you go way back. And now you're getting ready to become an American, and you're nervous.
Hmm.
Wow, look at
Well,
that.
because it's the greatest. Like it's something that I dreamt of my entire life.
Mm,
And to do it, like, that's it. Like, once you do that, there's no taking that away from you.
yeah.
And I'd been waiting for it, and I'd stand up and I'd say the Pledge of Allegiance, and especially around veterans and working with the military a lot. And I'd always not be the American that was there, even though I was really American in my heart, right?
Mm,
So I really wanted it so badly. And so I just didn't want to mess up. And I mean, I've studied American history for years before, so these like little questions weren't really going to trip me up. But I wanted to get it right, and I did. And he said, you're going to go down the hall and get sworn in. And I asked that because the guy was a former Border Patrol
mm,
agent, and he was a great guy. And I said, "Will you come down and will you swear me in?" Because it really meant something. And so he did. But it was a really strange feeling, because when I drove out, and it was downtown LA, and I'm driving north as I came out, and you see the San Gabriel Mountains right there, and I was like, "You're mine."
mm.
Like, it felt different. I felt different, and I was like, "This is my country. It's mine." Right? Even though I'd always, it's been my home for 20 years. but there was something different about it, and I I still love it. I still love the country. I still think it's, like I said, I think it's the shining city on a hill, and I think that deep inside, you know, the majority of Americans, there's something essentially good about them. That they have a core that is good, whether it's morality or, you know, whatever that might be. It doesn't mean they're on assholes. Doesn't mean we know that, but there's something where Americans will say, and I think we're getting to that point now where they're saying, "Hey, listen, this is wrong, and this has to stop." And as you've seen in Europe, people don't have a backbone. I think it's something. One of the reasons is you can still go out, even in California, you can still walk out your door and get eaten by a bear.
Yeah.
Right? There's something about the frontiersman spirit about Americans that hasn't gone away. Right? They'll still go, "What you doing?" "Oh, I'm going to go up." You know what I'm saying? Sorry.
Oh no, you're right. Like I travel all over the world, and everyone thinks I did that. I won't go into it too much, but I was humanitarian, built orphanages all over the world for 15 years, and every time I went to another country, everyone's like, "Ah, America, you know, you're a cowboy, adventure, this and that." They always were just like, "You Americans are just so full of like, you just want to explore the world and go out and like do all these things," and it's like every country just thought the same. No matter where it was, they always ask me the same questions. They're like, "How many guns do you have, and why do you eat so much cheese?" Like stuff like it's like stuff like
because
that.
it's tasty and guns are awesome. I mean,
Yes,
you know, I'll tell you this, just to put a point on that. My uncle, who never says anything political to me, or he hasn't said anything political to me my entire life, up until the space program was cancelled. And he called me up, which he never does. And he went, "What's up with cancelling like the space program?" And I was like, "This is so random. Like all we ever talk about is sports and whatever." And he goes, "That's not right. That's not what Americans do." And he went off on this rant. He's like, "Americans go boldly where no one else has gone. That's what they do. They land on the moon. They do this. They push that." He goes, "They can't do this. They can't stop space travel. They can't."
Mm,
And he took it super personal. You know what I mean? It was super personal for him.
yeah.
My computer's just gone off. Sorry, I've got my computer here like that. It's giving me a
I
bit of
always see the
backlight.
light.
It's giving me
Yeah.
some beautiful
No, it's
backlight. Actually, all the light, because it's going dark here now in Texas. So, yeah. So anyway, I mean, it just shows you, and that's why I'm not, like, it's people in America and the lefties over in Europe are the ones that say that America is bad. All you've got to do is say, "Hey, I'll give you a green card. Would you come to America?" And all those people are like, "No, I hate America." They'll be like, "Yes, please." They would
mm,
all come. They would all come here. So don't believe the hype, right? It's just not true.
I noticed
People
that
and
too. Yeah, no,
then people
I
want
agree
America
with
to be the
you.
heroes as well.
Yeah.
People want American heroes in movies. They do.
I noticed that too. It's on travel. Sometimes my friends here, they're like, "Hey, I don't know if you want to go there." They don't like Americans, and it's like, man, that's furthest from the. Everywhere I went, I was greeted with like, and they all say the same thing. "Oh, don't listen to the TV. Like, don't listen to what the television." And that brings me to maybe the biggest question is, what is going on with Hollywood? With your friends out there, what's happening, Matthew? I mean, listen, it's sad for me when you tweet. If you want to follow Matthew on Twitter, the links are in the description. If I have some mods here, if you want to throw that in the chat, that would be great. And everyone in the chat here that's watching, they're just saying, "Oh, I love Matthew in this movie. I know this. I know that." It's awesome to see all the love that you're getting in the chat and the congratulations that you're getting as well. But I mean, even you tweet out, you're saying, "Man, some of my Hollywood friends, stop talking to me, and this one's done with me." And And then of course my favorite tweet is not all actors are like this. Like I think you must. I kept like I was like like taking a tally. I was like I'd always respond, add another one to the list.
Yeah.
What is happening in your humble opinion? What's happening over there?
Well, look, I think it's been like that for a long time, right?
Mm.
I mean, it really has. I don't think there's anything dramatically different. You just know about it. It's like
But you worked
anything.
side by side with some of these people, and I mean, I'm sure they didn't point the finger at you in the same way they act, or maybe they did.
Well, I mean,
uh,
look, I mean, I'm a big guy, and
yeah.
with Hollywood, like people don't really, they don't really confront you if. I mean, there is some bullying that goes on, but I don't,
Mm,
I've never been one that will kind of ride with it. I'm just like, hey, it doesn't wash with me, right? I don't accept that bullshit. I think,
mm-hmm.
my grandmother used to clean toilets for a living, right? So I don't accept any of this elitist bullshit where they talk down to people. And I think that when one of the great things about getting that little bit older is you just don't give a shit anymore about people's opinions. And certainly with these things, because the things that we're talking about are so dangerous to the fabric of our society, and what they're saying is so wrong. As I said, what is it for me to stand up and say, hey, shut up, or hey, you're wrong? I mean, everyone should have an opinion, but I
Yeah.
just even look, even if someone came and berated me, I'd still have a dialogue with them. And I think that's the difference, because I've changed my position on certain things over time, right? Because if you really do pursue the truth, then you have to pursue it wholly, and without regard for the consequences, right? Because that is what is important. And if you think, oh well, if I go down this route, then this is going to happen to me, right? What is more important, right? Knowing the truth or living a lie? And I'd rather reap the consequences, because it's going to bite you anyway at the end in one way, shape, or form, which is what we're seeing right now. So, as far as Hollywood's concerned, here's my little theory. You want to know my
Oh,
theory on this?
I'd love to know.
Okay. So, if you are a mathematician, right? If you're a mathematician, you go out and you will do 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4, whatever. It's a quantifiable right and wrong, right? If you do 1 + 1 = 3, then it's quantifiably wrong, right? With art, it's
Yeah.
not. With art, it's not.
Mm.
It's kind of, it's subjective. All right. So you know this because you'll go, oh, I love that movie, and someone else will go, that's a pile of crap. I don't
Yeah.
like it. And even if it's technically proficient, there are different. Like some people will love like B movies. I love them. That's why I think the Oscars are just bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's certainly right now, it's not even how great something is, right? I'm like, listen, when I got Transformers, I was stoked that I was going to work with Michael Bay, because I love Michael Bay. I think The Rock is an amazing movie. I love those movies. I love action movies. So I was stoked about going and working with him, because it's just a different genre of film, right? So imagine there's two people going up for a role, and one person, you can't, maybe he's as good as the other person, but one person, and I'm not saying this happens for everybody, because you can be in the right place at the right time, and you can have momentum, which is just for the people watching. A lot of the time, it's got nothing to do with how talented you are. It's whether or not you have momentum, and this is why you're seeing people from Instagram, whatever, get into films, because it helps with the funding, and that's all the bean
Mm.
counters look at now. They don't look at talent. So let's just say you do something that maybe gets you the job over the other person, that isn't anything to do with acting. Then you get to a point where, and you become, since then, after then, you become fabulously wealthy, really super famous. There's an element of guilt that comes with that
Mm.
makes you say, I do not really deserve this.
Mm.
So I cannot criticize anyone or anything for being bad. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I have to love everybody. I have to
Absolutely.
accept everything. I have to. So this is why you see so many people come out like so bitter, because I don't really truly think that they believe that they earned it.
You're not the only one to say that I
I
know
really
in the
do.
business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're not. This is not the first time I've heard that, and so it's. But I mean, it's just, people think their lives would be better if they were rich and famous, and but like you said, at what cost? At what cost is it? Is it just living with guilt, not really earning it, or is it, or throwing away your freedoms? Or I mean, listen, some of us, where we are on our level here, we are, with me and Ryan and a few others, like sometimes we're convinced that there's some kind of memo that goes out to Hollywood actors that say, hey, this political thing or something's coming up, I need y'all to tweet this, because we're like, man, they all just say the same thing, like in
Well,
their
I'll
own
tell you
way. Like at
this.
the same time, it's like, did they even watch? Do they even know? Do they even educate? They're just like, do this, do this, do this. But the sad thing is, Matthew, is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is we're seeing this weird shift from Hollywood where it seems like the actors and directors are talking down to us,
Mhm.
the consumer, and basically saying, you should like, if you don't like this, you're this. If you don't agree with this, you're that. If you don't, instead of trying to see what we really would want to enjoy. And then when those certain movies come out, or shows or something that don't do that to the consumer, they always sit back and go, man, wonder why they're doing so well.
Exactly,
It's
like
like, it's,
Yellowstone.
yeah,
It's like Yellowstone. Like Yellowstone is a massive success, and they don't understand why it's a success. Yeah, everybody else knows why it's a success. When American Sniper comes out, everyone's like, "Oh, that's a success." So, you're like, yeah, because that's what people want to see. You got to understand that for the majority. And by the way, I don't want to talk about Hollywood as some monolithic group, right? Because
sure,
the truth
sure.
is that there's a lot of people that feel the same way that I do. I get emails and whatever all the time from guys saying, "Hey, thank you for speaking up," and I understand to a
I
degree
agree that
that,
completely. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
there's just a few people, and
but
everyone's just like, I'm working, just don't bother me with that nonsense, just let me work.
but you
I
can't
agree
get
with you
away from it.
completely.
But you can't
Yeah.
get away from it because they talk like everybody else thinks the same. And I've been on set when that's happened, right? So they talk as just as if, like, hey, listen, I'm going to go on about this and this and this, and everyone thinks the same, right? Because a lot of when you get to that level of fame, you can't really go out like everybody else does. Even though if you are in Hollywood, honestly, if you are in, when I say Hollywood, it's not really Hollywood. It's Beverly Hills area
Right, right.
around there. It is you'll see people going down to Starbucks that are famous. Like they go down there and they go back up into the hills. And, I mean, I was there, I know the drill. Um, but, but all the parties, they're all a certain group together, right? So you don't really get any different opinions. And even if you did, people shut up because they are vindictive. Like they will not hire you if they believe you think a certain way, right? Without a shadow of a doubt, right?
Wow.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And the problem is you can't like. Regina was really kind of out there, right? Like Gina, it was clear she said something, they let her go, right? Which, by the way, is not a business decision, right? It's not a sensible business decision because the show was the most successful show. She was massive on it. So you got to say, well, I don't know why that played out the way it did, but it's not smart to me as a filmmaker. That is not smart.
Mm.
So you have to say, well, what is driving this, right? What is the thing that is driving? And here's the thing, and I'll tell the viewers all this as well, is the majority of shows, even when you go up and audition for stuff, right, they've already been cast because there's a handful of people, a handful of guys, right, that greenlight the film. And that's all they're interested in, is who can greenlight my film, right? And then you'll audition, and because I know, because I used to get offers, right? I still do get offers, but not the level of the films that I really want to be doing, although those movies aren't getting made. So the majority of stuff that comes in for me, I turn down anyway, because I don't want to do it, right? So, but when you're talking about the 150, $200 million movies, they have their actors, because the actors paired with the director greenlight the film. So when you're going down, like down the trickle, so you've got your offers, and then it goes down to the auditions, and you might be able to break through in those auditions. Let's say if the casting directors don't agree with you, they just don't call you. So the director never, because if you're a director, if you're like a Ridley Scott and you're seeing like 150 people, or I mean, it's a lot smaller than that, you know, maybe he sees like 30 people for all the top roles, right? He's not going to think, hang on a second, where's Matt? Oh, hang on a second, where's Gina? He's thinking, I've got to direct a movie, I've got to do this, and the money's coming in, and this and that. Like, let me see the reels, who's available, boom, and then they move on. So it's a weird way of canceling someone, because you can't quantify it, right? Like, an actor can't say, oh, well, they didn't call me in on this job, and I know why they didn't call me in on this job, because the job never comes around for you to know that you were up for it. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So these things go away, or you'll be like, oh, you're on option. Like, they like you for this film. Are you free like 5 months? And, you know, it's going to be in Fiji for blah, blah, blah. And then it just goes away. And why did that go away? I spoke to the director, and the director said that he wanted me to do the role. And I've had that happen to me twice.
Wow.
So, and the only reason why I found out about it afterwards was I spoke to the director, and the director thought that I'd turned the role down, and I hadn't.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, you know, there's a lot of that. I mean, if you ask Gina, if you ask Nick, if you ask, you know, Adam, any of those guys, they'll all tell you that things just go away. But, you know, it's very difficult to. Okay, let me put it this way. There are certain actresses that have said things that you'll be like, I would never leave my children around that person.
Right.
Like, how on earth is that person ever in a job? And I'm not talking about like, oh, you know, screw Trump, or, you know,
Yeah.
losers. I'm talking about like really horrible stuff. And you go, they just got picked up for a second season. Like, what the hell is going on? Right. So it shows you that it's not just a business decision, right? Just logically, following the logic, it shows you it is not just a business decision. It can't be just a business decision. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, right? I mean, and I feel sad that, like I said, I've had a couple of my friends who I thought were friends unfollow me. Because
You think they did that because they don't like you anymore, or it's because this is my livelihood, and if I distance myself and, you know, just, I don't want no problems, I don't want this, I don't want that.
No, not really. Not really,
Okay.
because I think it's because, I mean, the stuff that I'm saying is not exactly massively controversial in a real world. In a clown world, it's hugely controversial.
Yes.
Right? But in the real world of logic and reason, saying, hey, I had the coronavirus, so I'm not going to run out and get the vaccine because I have natural immunity. That is science, and has been what people have done for years. Right. And then, in addition to that, you look and you go, hang on a minute, these governments are like forcing vaccines on you, and it's not, you know, before it was through clinical trials. And I don't like that. I don't like a tyrannical government trying to tell me what I can do with my body. Right. And because we all know, if you have half a brain, where that's going to go. And we know that because we read books from history. Right?
Yeah.
Even though we're anti-science and stupid people, right? And so now, and again, I wasn't initially, when all that shit went on with the vaccine, I wasn't anti-vaccine, right? I literally take my kid, and that's the other thing. You take your kids, you go and have the vaccine, have a vaccine, you know, whatever, MMR, whatever it is, and you come back and they go, anti-vaxxers, you're anti-vax. And I'm like, how am I anti-vax? I've had all my vaccine. I'm just this one,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't need it, right? I don't. And so anyway, that's a little segue, but I think that what it is it is weird how it's almost like a psychosis. You see that they cannot stand any kind of pushback, right?
Yeah.
Just none, no debate, no talking,
no questioning either.
no questioning. And I said this the other day. I mean, you know, I think I'm not a big fan of actors opening their mouths, right? Because we're really meat puppets. Like, what really are we going to be like contributing to the world? But I got to the point where I was seeing so much, I felt obligated to say something, right? Because so many people have such big platforms, and for some reason people look up to them, that I thought I have to be a voice for the people that don't, like, they feel like they're not being heard, or they're going through this really difficult time. I mean, my inbox is filled with people that are like, hey Matt, you know, my husband got fired from his job, or I don't know what we're going to do, we're really desperate. So I see people, friends of mine, being really arrogant, and I try and be diplomatic about it and say, hey, listen, for example, if you have if you are immune system compromised, you can't take a vaccine. For a lot of people, they can't take it. So when they say the anti-vax, they're stupid, they're this, I'm like, you know, firstly, anti-vax is a stupid statement anyway, and you should never ever give it the time of day, right? You should always stop and go, excuse me, that is not the correct term. Please don't call me that. That is not accurate, right? But for people that are immune system compromised and they can't take it, and they're already in a situation where they're really, really high risk, it just piles on more pressure, more stress, which again, that breaks down into their immune system, right? More stress, like, will depress the immune system. So I just felt like, hey, I just want someone, you know, not that I'm an anybody, but maybe someone who liked one of my movies will go, oh, thank God, you know, that guy said
somebody's
it as well.
saying
He said
something.
What I'm thinking.
You're right.
He's saying what I'm thinking. And I knew the consequences. I knew that, you know, the chances of me working again would be very slim, or they would, or I can't do what a lot of people are doing, is lie and say that they took the vaccine when they haven't, right?
But
So I won't do that.
But speaking of working, you're just gonna do your own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But see, that out of everything, Matt, out of everything, this is why I wanted to talk to you, because this whole movement, this whole Welcome to the Rebellion movement, is about people saying, I'm tired of all the crap. I'm just going to do my own thing. You know, do I have $100 million budget? Not yet. But what I'm working with, I'll do it with what I got. And that's why it was important for me to highlight your film that just came out on Amazon. It's important for us to highlight Gina's film, because this is what I think is going to happen. People like yourself who speak out, and I know it's going to happen to Gina and others when their movies start coming out. These people that just don't like you because you're speaking out will just say, oh, he's a C+ actor, he sucks, look at that, this and that, and they won't even give it a chance. And you will not get the coverage that we think you deserve to get for going and making your own films, because this is an art, this is a craft for you, this is an art, and this is an art that the world, we love movies, man, we love our TV shows, we love our entertainment, we love movies, it's just what we love. It is such a beautiful art for many of us to enjoy. Listen, we speak about it. We have podcasts about it. We talk about it. We dissect the actors. We dissect lines. There are lines from movies that we quote every single day. There's something beautiful about making films. And now that like a lot of this stuff is being hijacked, it is important for me and everyone else who's watching, the 200, almost 300 people in here watching, that we are all agreeing to, we want to support you and what you're doing. We want to say, we're going to watch this and we're not going to watch that. These people don't like us. They literally came out and says, oh, we think you're a white supremacist because you didn't like my film. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? When Seth Rogen came out, and I'll say his name, you don't have to, but when he came out and was like, oh, these people, the people that didn't like Santa Inc. were white supremacists. Like, why would you say that? Maybe it was just a bad show. It's
Yeah,
why would you say that? So,
but this is what you get when you give out participation trophies, right? They think that they're entitled to win all the time, and they're not. I mean, they're not. And I think that you're absolutely right. I mean, for me, growing up, I never thought I'd make any money as an actor. I thought I was going to be a starving actor on stage in the West End, making $250 a week. I didn't think that I'd go and make movies. I mean, I had the dream, but it wasn't a pursuit that was ever going to make me money. And I think that's why I say, when people knock me and have a go at me, I'm like, hey, I'm winning all day long. I'm doing what I love to do. Like,
I know.
you don't understand. Like, I never dreamt that I would be here and to have worked with the people that I have. So I've already won, and I'm an American, and I've been married 16 years,
Look
and
at
I have a
that.
big, I mean, all these things. So it's, to me, those are the things that matter. Like, I don't care about this stuff. I don't. I like making things. That's why, when I see you guys, you're so passionate about creation, right? Like making things. And that's where it's so frustrating now with the continual reboots and remakes. You can see that the creatives are not so involved anymore, right?
No.
It's more the bean counters that are
Yeah.
like, hey, listen, I've really got to watch out for my job. So if I put, so look at it like this. It's like, okay, I'm an executive, right? I'm a studio executive, and I've got to make a movie, and I've got a budget of $100 million. Do I go, hey, listen, there's this little movie, it's called The French Connection, I'm going to go and make it, it's a gritty film, blah, 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 or whatever it might be? Or do they go, like now, or do they go, I think that we can remake The Princess Bride,
Yeah.
or, you know what I'm saying? And then they'll go, okay, well, remake that. And then who's the hottest girl right now? Who's number one on the IMDb chart? Right, okay, I'll get her and I'll put her in, and they put this. There's no real kind of. I mean, there's a couple of people that are trying to do it. I mean, the only one that does it, I think there's two people that do it on a big scale now, and that's Nolan and what's his name, who did Dune. Like, they're really creative individuals that but again, it's a star-studded cast. Like, you're never going to get, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's like a checkbox.
Yeah.
It's just like, let's remake what's hot, what's trending, go on Twitter, check to see what actor or actress is trending, boom, 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 there's our film, we're done. We all see it. We all complain about it. It's just like, that's just what we do. It's just like,
but
really, another one?
I'll tell you this right now. Here's what people don't understand, and it's very difficult to say it without saying, because the criticism will come that, oh, you're just promoting your film, right? Here's the thing. Even if my movie was the biggest steaming pile of shit, everybody should go and buy it. And that's not about enriching me or the team. What it's doing is it's putting a foothold into the industry, right? Because when you have success, the overlords will come and say, oh, that movie made X amount of dollars. What do you want to go and make next? And then you start climbing the ladder, right? Like, you have a foothold. And I had a couple of people on Twitter say, I'm not giving any money to Amazon. I'm like, okay, so you cut your nose off to spite your face right now, right? So we don't have my point is, I made that movie for a number of reasons, but one of them was go and make your own shit,
Yeah.
right? Just go and do it. Make your own stuff. It is difficult, right? It's difficult to get it out there. I've had 25 years in the industry, right? And it was still difficult. But that's what you have to do. You have to build your own. This is America, man. You know what I mean? It's America. They shut down the space program. Elon Musk goes and, builds a frigging rocket, right? That's the American way, right? And we can do it. But you've got to have some kind of power. And we can't be always going back and saying, hey, let's get Clint, or let's get this person. We have less people in a situation that can help the people lower down to bring them up.
Exactly.
We have less people. We can use that studio system. It can be used, right? Because the amazing thing about those guys is they totally have no problem compromising their morals for money. You know what I mean? That you've seen it all along, right? But fancy that, right? So if you're a success and you have something that is marketable, why hasn't Chris Pratt been cancelled yet?
That's true.
Because
they
he's
tried.
the biggest
They
star.
keep trying.
Yeah, but they can't. Do you know what? Because he's a great actor. He's a fantastic person, right? And he's in, is it 2 or 3 franchises?
Yeah, he's in Jurassic and Marvel. So yeah.
And then he's got that new one that he just did for Netflix. What tomorrow?
Oh, the Tomorrow World. Yeah.
Which they're going to do another one. So he's got 3 franchises. You can't cancel that. He's worth too much money to them. Trust me, if they could, he'd be gone. Right? He'd be gone because you can't say God. You can't say God or Jesus. You can't say it. Right? You certainly can't say you love God or Jesus. You can't say that.
Wow.
So
Well,
and again, sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I just want everyone to know that's in the chat. There is a link to I Am That Man, the Amazon. Thank you. My mods are putting it in the chat now. It will be available wherever you're listening to this on Spotify, wherever. That link will be in the description. So please go check that out. I just purchased it. Like I said, I'll be checking it out over the weekend with some friends to watch it. But that's exactly it. We support those that are saying I'm tired of the crap. We're gonna do and build them up, and that's how change happens. And real quick, and then I gotta ask you some fanboy questions if you don't mind. I gotta get, Schoolboy was my dude, man. That was my dude, and everyone in the chat is screaming about Black Hawk Down. So, but just real quick, JC Pena says you're interviewing the guy. Nice, yeah. Finally, I bugged him enough. My main man Prime for $5 says, just wanted to say that as a way to support Mr. Marsden, his Transformers character, Captain Graham, will appear in my upcoming Transformers audio series. Another awesome YouTuber. Everyone is just saying congratulations on 16 years of marriage. Congratulations on becoming American. We need more people like you. Thank you for the super sticker. I also have one interesting comment. I'll get to it. Let's see. Sorry if I missed your super chat. I promise I will try to get and find it. But somebody sent one that, here it is right here. It says, I am so forth. It says, watched I Am That Man a few days ago and enjoyed it. Matthew might be an American now, but good to hear some principles with British roots at least. So there's that. Again, if I missed your super chat, I'm so sorry. I will try to get back to it. But the chat is just moving so fast because people are excited and they're all saying the same thing. They want to support the film. Where can I get the film? There it is. My mods are putting it in the chat. Just click on it. You could rent it. You could buy it. But this is what Welcome to the Rebellion is all about. It's rebelling against all the crap that we see and saying, no, we want something a little different. Mr. Grant Gregory for 5 says, oh my God, you're in a movie with Vladimir Kulich. Did I say that right? Is that true?
It's the fighter. Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah, I think so. Vladimir Kulich. So since that dude is super based, so people see this is it. Like people were like Matthew Marsden, I know that name. I know this guy from somewhere. I know it. It's like that's who you are. They're like, who is this guy? He was in Helen of Troy, right? Black Hawk Down, Rambo, and several others. I mean, there's so much. He also was a singer. If you didn't know this, it's like way back when, right? You were a singer and had a number one hit on the charts back in the day. That's correct, right? Or do we not talk about that
We don't
anymore?
talk about that.
Okay.
We don't talk anymore.
There it is. There it is. But when you got the call to work with Sylvester Stallone, like, did you get to shoot? Did you get to shoot the sniper at least to kind of get a feel for it, or?
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
yeah.
how was that experience? Because that movie was so like when I first saw that film, it was like, what a meat factory movie. Like there was just meat flying from people. Like in the last 15 minutes, you guys were blowing heads off and like going like it was awesome. Really wasn't family. You don't bring the kids to see that, but
no,
it was awesome. It was just like, see, it was just like sorry, fanboy, let me calm down. It was just perfect Rambo. I'm Rambo. I'm gonna kill everybody and save the day. Like that's just that was the movie. So, yeah. But how was that process? You just got the call and you're like, here we go.
No, it was it's a funny story actually, because I got a phone call from a manager and he was like this. He was like, we just got a call. They're doing a new Rambo and they want you to go in for it. I'm like, holy shit. They're doing a new Rambo? A new Rambo? He's like, yeah, you don't want to do it. I went, yeah. What? Of course I want to do it. Fucking Rambo. Excuse my language. No,
it's okay. It's okay.
I'm like, of course I do. So anyway, originally I went in for, so the schoolboy was actually a Navy SEAL. And I went in for, to meet on Graham McTavish's character, Lewis. And I get a call and they're like, Stallone wants to meet you. And I was like, it's one of those moments, right? Like I turned back into like an 8-year-old boy watching Rocky. And I was like, okay. And he goes, well, he's going to call you first, right? He's going to call you first. And I said, okay, like, okay, put the phone away. Nobody touched the phone. Nobody picked it up. Like, no. Anyway, he calls me up and he's like, hey, it's the Stallone thing. I can't do his voice, but he goes, do you want to come and hang out tomorrow? And I'm like, okay. So I went to his office and it was a really surreal moment because I walk in and there he is, like the main man. And he's like yay big. He's just, because he lifted really, really heavy for Rambo and he was just like a truck. And so he walks in, he walks over and we go in and we start talking about the different roles. And he tells me he wants me to play schoolboy and he wants it to be a British role and blah, blah, blah. And then I said, well, have you ever thought of making him a Royal Marine Commando, like an SBS guy, which is the Royal Marine Special Operations, because they were the Green Berets, right? And I said it would be because in the original script, Schoolboy took over from Rambo.
Really?
Yeah. So
wow.
Rambo became like Troutman, and Schoolboy, but he was different. He was more like a scalpel, as Rambo was like the blunt instrument. So I said it'd be a nice homage to the Green Berets if I'm a SBS sniper. He put it immediately in the script, by the way. Like he just went. I mean, the dude. If he thinks it makes the story better, he will go with it. There's no pride about him at all. So he puts it in anyway, and then he gets up and he like walks over like this, and he puts this DVD, and he walks down, and I sit down. I'm like, and you hear this ba 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 ba, and I'm like, holy shit, are you kidding me? are you kidding me? And it was the trailer for Rocky Balboa. And I just had this like total out of body experience, right? Because I mean, I'm never cool about meeting people that have been such an impact on our lives. Certainly like young men's lives, right? Like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, those guys, they were huge for me, certainly growing up. And it finishes, and I knew he was back, right? Because people forget he was in the wilderness for a while. And I looked over at him like that, and he looked over at me, and I went, and he went, and that was it. And then we were off over in Thailand, and unfortunately for me, but as a fan, you know, I mean, you understand, as a fan, you do what is right for the franchise, right, rather than yourself. I'm not a selfish actor, right? I'm not one that goes, oh, you changed it around and I want it back. And so what happened was there was a big success with Rocky Balboa, and I get sides, because you get sides when there's rewrites. I'm like, this isn't me taking over the franchise. But as a fan, and he came up to me and he said, look, I'm really sorry, but, you know, this is the right way to end the film. And to be honest with you, it was the right way to end the film, you know, with him walking home. Initially, it was the character that came to us, Baumgarten, was meeting with us in a cafe and putting us on another mission. In fact, here's a little bit of geek trivia for you that probably nobody knows, is that I asked, because I work a lot with the special operations guys, right? I've trained with them. I know many, many, many of them. And so one of the things I wanted for an SBS guy was what's called a Fairbairn Sykes dagger, which is, it's I don't know if you know what that is. It's a very like pointed dagger like that. And so I had one, and when I climb up the tower and kill the guy, I kill him with a Fairbairn Sykes dagger. But it's not a Fairbairn Sykes dagger when you watch the film. It's the Rambo knife.
Oh.
And that was changed in post.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Did you get to keep it?
I didn't get to keep any of my gear. None of my gear. I didn't even keep my hat. Because you see, and here's the funny thing, and this is for all the shooters out there, anyone that has actually done any shooting. Like, I'm really anal about getting the technical aspect of it right. And the last night we were shooting pickups, right? So for those of you who don't know, it's like shots that you've missed within the sequence of the filming. So we were shooting pickups, and one of those pickups was me up in the tower, like, you know, when it's like when it goes click, and I shoot the guards around, and you know, we all we leave. So I'm there shooting that. We shoot it, and then they're like, Matt, you've got to leave. You've got to get on a plane. So I was going to get on a plane and fly back to the US. So my stunt double, actually, it wasn't my stunt double. He was this particular person, and Brian Orley, great guy. He was Graham's stunt double, and my stunt double had gone. Not that they did any of my stunts. I did all my own, but you have to have one there. He did the trigger pull. And if you watch it, he slap, he slaps the trigger, right? And the first thing my guys went, my SF guys were like, what's up with the trigger pull, dude? And I'm like, it wasn't me. They're like, slappy, slap with the trigger. And I'm like, it wasn't me. I know, squeeze. But it wasn't me. So anyway, there's a little bit more trivia.
I have to write that down and go back and watch it.
Yeah, it was. Now I'm going to make everyone go back and watch it and go,
yeah,
oh yeah, he messed up on that. Shit. So basically, I had to leave all my gear because even though it was only on his hand, he had to wear all my gear, right, in case any of it was caught in the shot. So yeah.
What was the most difficult film you ever worked on?
In what way?
Physical,
in what way?
Physical and mental. Just long days, long nights, away from home.
Do you know what? Honestly, I don't consider any of that as
mm,
difficult. I don't, because I'm not picking up the trash. I
mm.
will not. I will not complain and call my job difficult at all. Whatever
Maybe
I'm
not a
doing, I
complaining
just don't.
difficult, but more just it just was a hard
Challenging.
challenging. Yeah, probably be better
Okay.
word.
Um, I mean, there's certainly actors that you find that you work with that are challenging. I mean, and
Well,
there's stuff that's dangerous. I mean, when we were doing like Transformers
mhm.
was, and here's a little trivia for you. As someone pointed out, Captain Graham was my character name, and they got it wrong in the credits, right? So, which was really frustrating. But I was on that for 5 months. We were on that movie, which is a long time, and we were shooting at White Sands, New Mexico, and it was hotter than the face of the
Mm.
sun in there. And I had to put, but again, you're wearing all that gear, and I'm like, I know guys right now they're in Iraq that are in the same,
Oh
and
yeah.
they have people shooting at them. So suck it up, Buttercup. You know, get on with it. But that was hard, um, especially because we were getting the sides every day, right? So we wouldn't know. We knew kind of what we were shooting, but we didn't really know the specifics of it. So I'd get my lines the night before, and they go, "Oh, you got a scene tomorrow, and this is what you're doing." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And there's stuff like that. I mean,
Well, I mean,
people.
have you ever been like on a shoot and you just got like really sick because you drank
Oh
the
yeah.
water? Like you
Oh,
drank the
oh
water, you
yeah.
weren't supposed to drink the water, and you're like, all right, we got to film, and you're like, I'm like dying.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. No, I had one. So I got electrocuted on the set of Anacondas.
oh
Um,
my
I,
god.
I, Yeah, yeah, I got electrocuted and I had to go to hospital. And I thought I was going to die, and then I was back on set the next day.
Wow.
I
How did you get
I then
hold on. How did you get electrocuted? Are you allowed to say or
yeah, no, no, I mean, because it's, geez. So basically, what happened was we were sitting. There's the opening of the movie. We go and find Johnny Mesner's character,
right.
who's Bill, I think his name. It's been. I don't watch my own movies actually, so I have to like kind of
Really?
go back. Yeah, yeah, I
That
don't
was
watch
my
them.
next
I mean, I
question.
watch them. I watch them at the premiere, and that's
Right.
it. But so anyway, we're sitting there, and it's pouring down with rain, and we're in Borneo or wherever it's meant to be, and we go through and we meet him in this bar. So we're sitting outside, and it's like 4 a.m. and we've been up all night because sometimes you'll do a switch. We did on that movie. We did 28 days of nights, which is a nightmare because you do. So imagine you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday all night, and then so Saturday uh, you wake up and it's like midday, and there was nothing to do. We're in the jungle, so you're kind of like, and then they'll change back, like they'll change back again on the Monday to days, or at some point. But this one was 28 days and nights, so you can never get back round to days. It was a nightmare, and when you're in the jungle, everything like shuts down. Like there was a local cafe that we could go to, but that shut down. So we're all like sitting around. This is why on movies like this you get like really smushed together
Mm,
and get to know people really really well. And I think that's why a lot of the times when you fall out with people over silly things, like
yeah.
Jefferson said, I never consider a difference in politics to break a friendship, or paraphrasing. And I'm the same. Like I'm not gonna, unless someone's completely insane, I'm still gonna be friends with them. So anyway, I'm sitting in this chair, and I'm kind of like, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. We're in those, those director's chairs, and they go, all right, let's go. Come on, we're gonna shoot. And I'm like, okay. And I stand up like that, and there was this light that was part of the set dressing that was like here, and I went, because I've been like, it's 4 a.m. And I went, oh, and I went like that, and he went, and I went, I think I just got electrocuted. And I'm walking along like this, and I'm like, I think I just got electrocuted. I feel really weird. That's really weird. And so I did the scene, and then I went up to the medic. I'm like, I think I just got really electrocuted. And they were like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And I feel weird. And they were like, get him in the ambulance, go. So we're in 2 hours away from the nearest hospital. So,
Wow.
yeah.
See,
Yeah.
just been electrocuted. Yeah, we'll get you there in a few hours. Just hold on, but we got to get you back. So here's your Band-Aid and your lollipop. And
exactly.
And come on.
Yeah,
Well, you
so
survived, so there you
I
go.
survived, and then I did. There's a movie I did called DOA, based on the game, and that was crazy. But we were in China, and we all lost on average 30 pounds, the
Whoa.
whole crew, because the food was so awful. Like
Mm.
everyone. So actually, I don't know if I could tell you the story, but I was on a run, and I was 3 miles into like a 6 mile run. So I was out in the middle of like wherever it was in China. And I needed to go pretty
Yeah.
badly. And that 3 miles back was quite something. Let me just tell you that. Yeah, it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't pleasant. So
You mean Hollywood actors have to go to the bathroom? You know that life isn't all like
they do. They do, but it doesn't smell.
That's it. That's it. Most fun you ever had on a movie set?
Oh man, I've had fun
Probably every movie, right?
on everyone, on
Yeah.
everyone. Not one of them has been a bad experience. I mean, I've got to do things that most people dream about doing. I mean,
Yeah.
when I did Bounty Killer, I got to stand on the back of an Airstream trailer while we're in the middle of the desert going up. I get to shoot 6 shooters. When I did Black Hawk Down, I got to go. Actually, this was away from the set. I went up on the side of a little bird. The way the Delta guys went in.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to do that, and I got to do all that kind of stuff. Um, Doing real military style tactics and procedures and all that without getting shot at is awesome.
I say so.
Yeah, playing a villain in a movie is great because you get to really play with it. And I think on I'm That Man, I actually worked with my son, which was a really
Mm.
nice moment. And I think that was something very special. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to have a relationship. It's not I do
Yeah.
not want my son to become an actor at all. No, no, no. So, but in fact, when we did it, immediately the phone rang, and agents were like, "Who's the kid? Is he your son? I want to sign him." And I was like, "No way,
Yeah.
no chance is my kid going into that industry. No
Mm.
way. Certainly not as a child." So, yeah, I mean, every single movie I've done, I've had like crazy experiences on Transformers. The budget is amazing, and you walk in, and I read the comic book as a kid,
Yeah.
and there's Optimus Prime, and I get to say cover Optimus, and
Isn't that cool?
oh man, like I appreciate every single moment of what I
Yeah.
do, every moment. So it's I'm really privileged in what I do, and I know that, and I appreciate it, and I appreciate support. I appreciate people that come and watch my films. I don't I don't sneer at them, and I don't consider them to be how can I put it? That's the way that others might you
Yeah.
know. Like one of the things I never understand is like as an actor, like even people I disagree with, right? Unless they are abusive, I'll give them the time of day, right? Because they buy movie tickets, right? And they come and see me, and I've had a career because of those people, and I'm appreciative of them, right? So I don't understand as a business decision why people would want to piss off half of their audience. Now, what I'm saying now is, I think that regular folk like really don't get pissed off by it, because they kind of go, yeah, well, okay, we all kind of think that way. But this kind of like complete contempt for people, especially in the word I hate it is the flyover states, right? The
Wow.
contempt
Yeah.
that people, I mean, I stop people when they say that around me. I don't
Mm.
say that. Don't call them flyover states. That's not what they are. It's not. And look, I mean, I'm in Texas now, and I feel so much more at home here than I did in California.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Real quick,
Hmm.
people are just they're just loving it. People are like, "Hey Jay, can you please tell Matthew I loved him in DOA?" All right, I'll tell him. There you go. Now he heard. Now he heard. Mr. Greg Gregory says fire has to burn rain. Oh, fire has to burn, rain has to fall. Yeah, he goes on. He says, "I love these lyrics, mate. Wanted to tell you." Bruno says for 5, it's amazing to listen to an actor talk like a real person. They are real people. Imagine that. That's what we relate to and love. Thanks, Matthew and Jay. No, thank you for being here and thank you for the support. And if you want to support Matthew, there's been a link that's been dropped for his film that is now on Amazon, and I can't push it enough. With what little platform that I have, just support, because that's how things begin to change. Because this question right here, this is from a good friend of mine, Kung Fu Hot Dog is what he likes to be called. But he says, "Hey Jay, can you ask Matt when he thinks the SJW active nonsense will end in Hollywood? Will we ever get back to 80s and 90s, back to when we had fun?" Just a question from a viewer. I don't know if you can answer that or your
Yeah,
opinion on
no,
that kind
no.
of thing, or
Yeah, we got to. I think we have to look at the film industry and Hollywood as two separate things, right?
mm,
And we can have them, right? It's just that this cannot continue the way they are. You can't like. I'm not one for boycotting, right? I don't agree with. I don't agree
yeah,
with people saying boycott. I'm not that kind of person. If you personally choose not to, like for me personally, I will not buy Nike, right? I just I won't do it. Um,
why
for
why is
many
that?
different for many different reasons.
Okay, no problem, no
Um,
problem.
but I disagree with their stances on a bunch of stuff, and I think they're hypocritical, and I don't like being lectured to. All right, so but that's but I'd never say, hey, go
Right.
boycott them because that I don't do that. I don't like that when they do it to us, and I don't agree that we should do. Remember, it's my own personal opinion, but there needs to be an alternate. You are not going to change. Hollywood is going down a route because let me tell you something. Half the people there don't believe in all this bullshit. I can tell you that right now, and they're getting very, very frustrated because it hits the bottom line, right? Because you see people. Here's the one thing that you guys have to understand about Hollywood: the people that work there, actually, the grips, the all those guys, they work so hard. I
Yeah.
mean, these people really, really work hard and you see one person on set, you don't see all the other stuff that goes on behind, right? And it really is like it takes a village kind of thing. You got the one person at the front, but everyone there, from makeup to hair to the lighting to whatever. But we need to have an alternate because right now we don't have one, right? And for me, listen, I want to make 80s action movies all day long. I want to have fun. I don't want to. I don't want to do a movie that is preachy. I don't want to do it. I've got no desire to do it, right? And I don't want to be preached to. Like so that's where I was going with earlier with the Oscars. Like
Yeah.
sometimes I just want to have fun.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just want to watch a good movie. I want to see things explode and blow up and nice cars and this and that. Like that's what I want. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't all have to be like super serious and
Yeah.
oh it's called the entertainment
Right.
industry, not the grievance industry. Like we don't need that. So again, so my movie is it's a little indie. It's got a lot of secret sauce in there for veterans, um, but it's not what I want to do all the time. I want to make big action movies like Cobra. I'd love to do something like I love those movies. We grew up on
Yeah.
those films, right? Like badass, like Rambo, like those kind of things. Those are the things that I love doing. Oh, another bit of trivia for you, right?
Oh yes, let me have it.
Just segue. I'm going to tell these guys. Can anyone? And I'm sure you can see it.
Yeah, I could see it.
Don't Google it. Right? Who was the stunt coordinator on Rambo? Who was it? Or what movie did he direct?
Stunt coordinator on Rambo. Let's see your answers in the chat. Everyone, we'll see. I'll
Come on.
highlight it.
Don't Google it. But so in answer to the question, while they're doing that, is you have to back people
Yeah.
that are making other material, even if like look, it's really difficult, and it takes a real swallowing of your pride to turn around and say that, because you want your movie to stand on its own merits, right? You really do, and I believe mine does. Else I wouldn't have put it out there. If I didn't think it was any good, then I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have put it out there. I would have sunk it, right? But we really need to, and I want to encourage people, actually, if you're a filmmaker or if you're an aspiring filmmaker, write scripts. Just go out, get a camera, get your iPhone. You've got a little mini studio right there that you can go out and film with. Okay, you can do it. Go and make films, and don't let people tell you no. Just don't let them. What was it? No. Can I tell them?
You can tell them. There's a lot of answers in here. They were like, did he direct John Wick?
Yes. Yes, he did. Chad.
Yeah. Chad, right?
Yeah. He directed
There you
John
go.
Wick. That's right. Great guy, by the way. Really nice guy. And badass stuntman.
No, and that's again, people in the chat are just telling me now, they're like, I just bought the movie, Matthew, we want to support you, things like that. It's a beautiful thing to see. I think the biggest problem is promotion. I think there's a whole movement of people. So just real quick, and I work with Nine Line Apparel. The reason why I work with Nine Line Apparel is because they build homes for veterans. A lot of the money that they make goes to help homeless veterans and transitional housing and stuff like that. It's amazing what they do. I got to see it firsthand, and we did a Welcome to Rebellion shirt, and it broke all kinds of records for the company. It was amazing, and it proved to me that there are so many people out there that want to put their money and support those like yourself, like with Gina, but they just don't know that. That's, you know what I mean? Like they don't know it exists. So we're all trying to do our part. So for those of you that have purchased the film and you watch the film and you want to do a quick review, even on your Twitter, it just helps. It just helps. And I'm sure Matthew wants you to be honest.
Oh yeah.
Like,
no,
if you
listen.
didn't like a certain part, be honest. Don't be like, it's the greatest movie of all time. Make sure you buy it. So it's that's the whole thing. And they don't realize, and what the chat, you guys don't realize, is that you do play a huge part, because you share it, the next person shares it, and it's just like, it's such a ripple effect to get things out there. That's what listen, my podcast and channel isn't the biggest, but the fact that the shirts went out because people were like, I want to support that, it helps veterans, this and that. And it was, I don't know, they call it like grassroots movement sometimes. It was me saying, hey, this is what I got, it's a shirt, no big deal, but it helps this. And people were like, no, this is a cool deal, this is big, this is big. And they just kept sharing it to the point where the company brought me out there, and they were like, who are you, and how come you outsold some of these famous people that we have, and it's like, because I think people really are tired of a lot of the nonsense, and they want to support it with their money. They just don't know where to put it. And so that's why we can't push this film enough. And speaking of films, you got anything coming in? Anything you could share? Anything that you're allowed to talk about?
Yeah, and let me just go back to your earlier point. I think that
sure.
It says a lot about you that people are listening to what you have to say. It says a lot about integrity, and I think that what we really lack right now is people with a voice that have integrity, because we're seeing hypocrisy everywhere. You know, some people say they'll say one thing, they'll do another, and we're seeing it all over and over and over. So the fact is that, you know, you have integrity, and the people that watch your show trust you. And I think that that is, we really need that right now. We need to have this network of people that aren't frauds. I know it sounds stupid, but you know, you watch the news and you're like, they are just lying to me, like to my face. They are full of shit, and they just keep expecting me to eat it, right?
Yeah.
It just keeps going on and on and on. Sorry, I just might.
No, it's okay.
Let me just this. So anyway, what have I got coming up? I can't talk much about it, but I am in the new Jack Reacher TV show. I'm playing Stan Reacher. So
Oh,
yeah, that's
Jack
coming up, I
Reacher.
believe. It's called Reacher. It's on Amazon.
Yeah.
Uh, and I was just asked to direct a film. I'm not sure whether I'll be doing it or not, but uh, so I have a few things bubbling, but it's more, it's doing what you're. Look, here's one of the problems. I'm not taking the vaccine, right? And SAG has a lot of, you know, it was discretionary for a while, but if you don't take the vaccine, then you can't go on set for the most part.
Right.
So as far as my acting is concerned, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm not doing it, right?
Yeah.
So that's that. So, but on the production side of things, I just got asked to direct a film, uh, and it's I have a few scripts that people are interested in putting into production. And it's, for me, it's deciding. With that, I can decide, because I'll be producing it, whether or not, if I want to go and play a role in it, whether or not I'll be acting in it, because you know, you can do that. So far, you know, I'm not entirely sure what the breakdown is with SAG, whether it's still discretionary, because for some it
Yeah.
was, but you know, a lot of the time I'm just like, you know, just don't send me anything, because I'm not going to be doing anything acting wise for a while. So yeah, got that movie. I had a movie that was going to go into production in Malta. That is again, can't do it because I'm not going to take the vaccine to get in the
Yeah.
country, so I can't go over to do that. I also got offered a TV show here in Texas. Same thing. I won't do it because I'm not vaccinated. So
But
once
you're
you come
still
out, you
pretty
know, it
busy
is what it
though.
is.
I mean, but
Oh yeah.
still, even though wading through, trust me, everyone I know. I'm like, hello, Matthew, would you like to be on the show? He's like, the best text that we shared was, do you think, I was like, is Monday open for you? And you go, oh, I think so. And then you go, hey, thanks for texting me. You reminded me I have to catch a plane and go somewhere else. I was just like, well, good. And I said, well, you can hire me, you know, like I could work the calendar. You should see what I do for Gina on that aspect.
Yeah, I had to
um
go somewhere. Yeah.
but that
Yeah, so
was
I mean, it's not. Look, I mean, I think that a lot of people will think that acting, you know, if you're an actor and you just do an acting, then you're not very smart. Like, you should always be diversifying into different things, and you know, whether that be, you know, a different company or investments or whatever, and all those take time to manage. And but you know, for me, my love is always film, and you know, who knows? I mean, for the longest time, I didn't really want to. Like I say, I wasn't really interested in speaking about myself. Believe it or not, I'm an actor
mm,
that doesn't actually like going talking about myself. So a lot of the time, and I've turned down tons and tons of work because morally I've disagreed with it, or there have been other reasons, like I don't really want to be away from my family for such a long period of time. And that's difficult with the big ones, right? Because the big ones are normally, hey, listen, you're going to go on location for 5 months, and
mm.
I'm just, you know, that's a young man's game. That's okay. It's not okay when you have like a bunch of kids. And my primary responsibility is, it is providing for them, but it's also being there for my children. So I take
Wow,
that very seriously.
such a rare thing to hear, wanting to be there for your children. So that's we applaud, everyone in the chat is applauding you. as well. And I know we're almost hit the 1 hour, 30-minute mark. You're a busy man. Thank you so much for your time. I just want to get to some of these quick super chats. Pena for $2 says, by the way, Tomorrow War is on Amazon. Someone in the chat said, I just bought the DVD for I Am That Man, and Amazon said that it is sold out and is on back order. So I don't know. Maybe you could check into that and see. I think he answered this question from the Norwegian guy. His question from Matthew: thoughts on changes we'll see in Hollywood pre-COVID or post-COVID? I believe he answered that while we were talking. Thank you so much for your question. David Lee Murphy says, funny story about DOA. I saw a review by the Spoony one, and I bought the DVD. Matt is great in it. Holly is a knockout. Watch it if you haven't, says David Lee Murphy. Thank you guys so much. And then just a couple more. Hunch the Dirty Roofer. What a name. You guys come up with the craziest names, I tell you. Hey, Matt, how about a good old biopic about Jack Churchill or Mike Calvert? A good biopic? You want to do a biography picture about Jack Churchill or Mike Calvert? Send him a good script. You never know.
Yeah.
And you never know. Two more says, I recommend you contact the critical drinker, Will Jordan. I think you'd like his books, and he may be working to get someone on the screen. Yes, he's a friend of the channel. He does have a book series that are quite popular. $5. I think Mr. Marsden would be excellent Ryan Drake. He and Will Jordan, this is also a reference to the Critical Drinkers book series, should get in touch about that. Well, you guys are really pushing that. Andy says, I want Matthew as the new Bond. What a lovely man. Well, thank you. You're a lovely man. You're a lovely man.
Thank you.
Shellback, a veteran, supporter of this channel, awesome guy, says, Matthew, you're a great American. I salute you. Man, you get more love here than you do on
Twitter.
On Twitter. Harley Dave says, I was the one who I just bought the remaining 3 DVD copies on Amazon. Jay, I'll send them to you to raffle off. Maybe Matt can sign them. Well, I didn't ask him anything like that, but I'll talk to him after the show. I'd be honored to raffle them off and give the money to charity of anyone's choice. Co says, I was feeling left out. No super chats. Thank you guys for the love that are here. Again, if you haven't done so, check out his latest movie. It's on Amazon. The mods are throwing it in the chat. I guess they bought out your DVDs, so those
That's
are
amazing.
Done.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
And there's rental. And again, that's what we're saying here. It's you got to support those that are going out and doing it on their own. And that's the only way that'll get the attention of the big boys. That'll say, wow, look at Matthew over there doing his thing that everybody seems to like. Let's see what we can give him. And that's what creates change. That's what creates change. Last question, Matthew. What's your motivation, and what would you tell somebody that could get them a little motivated? Maybe somebody's thinking about writing a script. Like, is there any kind of saying or words that's just like, this is how I motivate myself to keep going, even in the days I might feel like giving up? I just threw that out there, didn't I?
That's a really great question. I mean, like, what makes me motivated, like, generally is one thing. What makes me motivated in the film industry is another. I think what makes me motivated generally, and it is linked, is that after America, there's nowhere to go. You're not running anywhere after here. Like, this is it, right? This is it. So we have to fight for what we believe in, because this country is the best force for good in the world. Like, it really is. And people look towards it for, like, I remember when the Iranians were rebelling, they held up their signs in English, right? That was to America. And I think it's really, really important. And that motivates me every day. Like, every day I don't want to work out. I do it because, you have to be fit. You have to be focused. You have to be able to be the best that you can be, to give back all the graces and all the wonderful things that have been afforded me in my life. So I think that's the first thing. And secondly, I was inspired in my life by media, right? Most people will talk about, oh, you know what, like my friend who was in 5th Group, Special Forces, he said, I watched the Green Berets with John Wayne, and that made me want to be a Green Beret. I've lost count of the amount of people that said they watched Black Hawk Down and it made them want to be an Army Ranger. So it's incumbent on us to make positive stories and true stories about the American way of life. It's really important because the ripple effect goes all the way around the world, right? And there is no other country like this, as much as anyone wants to say it. So it's incumbent on us. So you could go around, right, every day to a school, boom, 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 and even for the rest of your life, right? And you wouldn't cover all the schools in America. But you can put one movie out and it can reach 50 million people. So if you are, and also in addition, movie making is the pinnacle of art, right? Because it incorporates everything else. It incorporates writing with acting, with music, with visuals, right? With even like makeup and hair and like all these different things come together to make the movie, which is why they're so special, right? It's not just a trivial thing. And so we should, in our search for, get a little bit philosophical now, in our search for the truth, which is what we should all be searching for, like what is the truth? And try and do it absolutely unencumbered, right? Beauty is a really important part of that. And there's so much ugliness in our media. There's so much ugliness in it. They're telling us that beauty is ugly and ugly is beauty. It's just wrong. So it takes people that are creative to come in that, and you have to be motivated to do it. So you need to be self-motivated anyway. Like if you can't be self-motivated, then nobody's going to motivate you. But for me, it's about putting out things that inspire people. He's doing things that can change someone's, it sounds soppy, but change someone's heart, right? If you're having a bad day, is there a movie you can watch that inspires you, right? To be a better person, like to or that there's hope, right? That your life is in the doldrums, but you know what? You can pick yourself up and you can be anything that you want to be. I mean, that is Rocky, right? Rocky was, you know, he never had a shot. He was getting older. You know, he was a loser that never took his chance, but he had that little slim opening and he took it, right? And it didn't even matter that he didn't win, right? It was that he won for himself. He proved something to himself, right? And I think that's really important. And we see so much media that is lecturing us on the way this is the world is, and we all know that it's not. We all know it's a lie. So we have to go out there and we have to make these things that are true, right? And in turn, they're beautiful, because beauty is really, really important for us. It's super important for humans. We're designed to consume beautiful things like sunsets.
Yeah.
Right? They never go out of fashion, right? Trees, but like all these things. So that's a good, if you believe there's a struggle between good and evil in the world, that's one right there, between ugliness and beauty, truth and lies, right? So we need people out there that are creative, that can really create amazing stories. That's what I would say.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I want to thank Matthew Marsden. Please check out his film. The links are in there. Support this man and everything that he's doing in his latest project. Thanks for buying out all the DVDs, chat. And Matthew, I'm gonna hit the closing bell. Just stay with us for 1 second before you click off, and we're good. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the love. Thank you for everything, for being here on this live recording.
Thanks for listening. We hope you were inspired today. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you in the next episode, and welcome to the Rebellion.